Some people love Joe Bonamassa and call him a tone snob, but others think he saved the blues. In any case, he always has something to say. He has sold a lot of records, plays through 7 amps at once, and has so much old gear that most fans would go bankrupt. But Joe doesn't hold back when it comes to artists he knows. Your hands make tone. It doesn't matter if the guitar is $300 or a '59 Les Paul. Some guys are crazy about gear and Instagram. They ask, "Do you even play live?" It's clear that Joe doesn't respect all artists. He's called out players who are too focused on gear and made fun of artists who aren't clean. He once said, "I'm a controversial figure in the guitar business. Sorry, I know I'm rude and biased, and not everyone likes me. That's okay, but tonight we're going to name names. These are the 6 bands that Joe Bonamassa has fought with, criticized, or quietly shut out. He has also said mean things about one musician every time they meet. Let's start. Eric Johnson, when having power turns into stealing. In an interview, Eric Johnson said that tone comes from the inside out. They're after gear because they haven't found their voice yet. People who play guitar were upset by what was said. Many people thought it was aimed at Joe Bonamassa, who has a huge collection of old gear worth millions of dollars. Critics quickly saw what was going on. People have long thought that Bonamassa's never-ending amp and boutique pedal sets are an attempt to make what Johnson naturally makes. Johnson allegedly played first at a guitar expo, and that his performance was clear, precise, and transcendent. Bonamassa then came on with a stage full of high-end gear and changed sets in the middle of a song. Someone who was there said it was like seeing someone try to buy their way into being smart. Bonamassa hasn't exactly said that the impact isn't there. He's even gone even further with it while making fun of himself. "I always tell him I'm sorry when I see him. That's why I'm sorry I stole your style," Bonamassa told Guitar World in 2023. Johnson is said to be kind in response, often saying, "We all get it from somewhere." But not everyone believes the humility. Some people say that the repeated explanations hide the fact that Johnson's changes have made Bonamassa's style impossible to separate. Bonamassa says that Clapton and Johnson have a lot to do with how he plays. Clapton helped him with tone and style, but Johnson gave him power. The lightning-fast pentatonics, note patterns that fall one on top of the other, and open-voiced chord voicings. In his Guitar World columns, Joe has broken down Johnson's playing and even shown how his own licks are straight copies of Johnson's. He really likes her, but it's not too much. He breaks down the techniques Johnson came up with, making soulful playing into formulas that can be used again and again. And that's one of the problems with it. Johnson plays based on his gut. Bonamassa plays with a lot of thought and skill. Bonamassa's tone chase is known for having a lot of gear. He said, "You don't need a dumbbell or a '59. Les Paul, those things help with the search, but they're not necessary." In a strange way, though, he owns both of them more than once. He has one of the world's most expensive guitar collections and often plays with 7 old amps running at the same time. This man told Inside Blackbird in 2023, "You can give me anything, any of those amps. I'm going to sit there and turn the cabinets over. I'll turn knobs until something that looks like what's in here comes out of there." It points to the head. Johnson, on the other hand, likes to play with analog setups that are hard to predict, such as live rigs that are just about to break. That's what makes him an artist. The tone is lively, natural, and has no set pattern. Joe's method? Controlled, slick, high stakes, and sometimes too planned out for some ears' liking. Fans of both musicians appreciate what they've done, but there are loud critics who disagree. A comment that went viral on a famous online forum said, "Joe Bonamassa is the best Eric Johnson impersonator money can buy." Others stood up for him, trying to explain why paying respect isn't theft. The blues is made up of stolen licks, learned phrases, and changes over time. Even Bonamassa says he is a lightning rod, though. "People in the guitar business don't like me, I know that." In a 2021 Musicians Hall of Fame film, he said, "I'm very aware of that. I think you might not understand me completely. I'm a little awkward around other people, and I have strong opinions. I would choose to be honest even if it means making people angry." Eric Johnson has never directly attacked Bonamassa in public. He usually says philosophical things about tone and sincerity that aren't meant to be offensive, but people who play guitar can read between the lines. It's clear from what he said temporarily. Hat tone is in the fingers, not the pedals, strings, or amps. Bonamassa's shows, on the other hand, sometimes look like museum displays with collectible guitars, amp towers, and old effects that have been carefully set up to make that sound. And that's the point. Johnson doesn't copy, he makes. Every night, every solo from the inside out. Gary Clark Jr., let me show you how to do it. That's when a fuse went off. Gary Clark Jr. walked on stage during a shared guitar clinic while Joe Bonamassa was in the middle of a performance and said something that shook the blues world. I'll show you how to do this right now. What came next was an electrifying performance that made Bonamassa's talk about gear look dull in comparison. People who were there say Joe stormed off stage because of technology problems, but others say it was about something more serious: ego, importance, and being embarrassed in public. That event changed the way the unspoken rivalry between two of the most important people in modern blues could be seen. Behind the scenes, things got worse. It is said that Bonamassa started telling promoters that he didn't want to be on the same show as Clark, CE. Several sources say that he even skipped a charity event so that Clark's name would be higher on the poster. Bonamassa and Clark Jr. are both big names in blues music, but they show very different parts of the style. Joe became famous for his technical skill, his use of old guitars, and his never-ending touring routine. His fans come from all walks of life and are big fans of blues rock as a style. The blues moved into a new era when Gary Clark Jr. mixed soul, hip-hop, rock, and blues. He bonded with a wider range of younger people. His rise wasn't just because he could play guitar, it was because he was important to culture. Bonamassa once said that Gary was one of the few blues artists working today who was keeping the music alive. But when Clark started to play at the same festivals that Joe used to win, the praises stopped coming in. After what happened at the guitar clinic, Bonamassa's team allegedly made it hard for event planners to book both artists for the same show. One booking agent said that Joe's team wanted exclusive rights, so they wouldn't have to share the stage with Clark. It was said that another Joe dropped out of a show because Clark's name was printed above his in advertising materials. Even though no formal statements were made, the pattern could be seen. The two guitarists quit going to the same music festivals together. No one worked together, promoted each other, or talked to the public. The fight was quiet, but it wasn't over. In comments, Joe hasn't said anything bad about Clark, but he has made small fun of current blues trends. He said in an interview with Blues Rock Review in 2024 that a Gary Clark Jr. comes along every 10 years. Their fans hail them as the new blues heroes. The theme hasn't really gone anywhere, though. Even though it was meant to make a point about how the business goes through cycles, some people took it as an insult. Bonamassa seemed to be trying to place himself as the reliable veteran instead of the trendy artist of the decade. Even though they have never said they are fighting in public, the fact that they aren't at each other's events shows that they are at odds. Bonamassa has never been on one of Clark's headlining shows or jammed on stage with him at a big festival. Clark has also never been invited on one of Bonamassa's Keeping the Blues Alive cruises. They may be in the same genre, but their forms and ideas are very different. Glenn Hughes, the fight that broke up Black Country Unity. It wouldn't be honest of me to act like I'm having fun on stage to make the band happy. Joe Bonamassa, Glenn Hughes, and other strong musicians like them can make music that is explosive in both good and bad ways. In 2009, Black Country Communion was born with a lot of promise. Bonamassa, Hughes, who used to be the lead singer of Deep Purple, Jason Bonham on drums, and Derek Sherinian on keyboards make up this supergroup. It was clear that they got along in the studio, but behind the scenes, different goals, problems with communication, and public blaming led to a fight that stopped the band's progress and shocked fans. The first two Black Country Communion records got great reviews and were compared to classic hard rock from the 1970s. Hughes was motivated by the group's openness to new ideas, and Bonamassa was eager to try a louder sound outside of his blues solo work. But there were cracks even from the start. From the start, Joe Bonamassa made it clear his work as a single artist would always come first. He goes on tour almost every year and keeps up a big road crew and team. Glenn Hughes, on the other hand, wanted BCC to tour all the time. Their artistic goals were the same, but their plans for how to get things done weren't. In late 2012, when the band's third record, Afterglow, was coming out, things came to a head in public. Hughes started telling reporters that the group might not keep going because Bonamassa had to do solo work. This could be the band's last record. He told ABC News Radio, "I need to be in a band that tours all the time." This comment quickly spread, along with others that said Bonamassa was to blame for the band's lack of progress. Fans in the news started to blame Joe directly. He told the press his side of the story in March 2013. In an interview with Premier Guitar, he talked about how upset he was about being picked on. When Glenn says things in public that make it sound like I'm to blame for the band's lack of traveling and future plans, it stops being fun very quickly. He made it clear that even though he liked making the songs, the way the band worked together and how they toured weren't sustainable. It wasn't that I didn't like the cats in the band, it was just too much. Everyone looked tense, which made my team tense as well. Bonamassa said Hughes never talked to him directly before the public comments were made. He found out about them from blogs and press releases. Joe made it clear that his work with BCC would never take the place of his solo work and that his touring routine had always been the same. In a talk with Music Radar, he said, "I've been doing what I said I would do for 3 years, and now that someone changes his mind, that's my fault." He also said that Hughes wouldn't think twice about taking advantage of a big chance if the roles were switched. Glenn Hughes would have dropped Black Country Communion and taken a break from it right away if Deep Purple had given him a reunion tour. Because of the negative news and social media responses, Bonamassa said he would be leaving the group. The band canceled their only show in the UK at the time, and even manager Kevin Shirley commented on Twitter, implying that the group was having problems. Bonamassa quickly defended drummer Jason Bonham and keyboardist Derek Sherinian, saying that they were stuck in the middle of the fight without any fault of their own. He was still proud of the music they made, but he wouldn't keep working with people who made him feel trapped or responsible. "Even though I love Glenn Hughes a lot, I'm not going to be forced to